A few interesting comments and questions popped up from our daily updates as we were continuing to engage different parastate organizations. And I thought that perhaps instead of looking like we don't pay attention or ignoring the feedback, I could address a few questions. Perhaps we can start with 6 or 7 for today, so that we can provide clarity. First is the frequently asked question about financial sustainability of parastatals against the background that some are subvented, and that's quite right, that some parastatals are subvented while others are fully commercial. But even those that are subvented parastatals, the condition is that after 3 years or so they should be becoming financially self-sustaining, and this is why we are calling upon those organizations that we have engaged to explore new revenue streams or additional revenue streams, so that eventually they could actually become financially sustainable or independent of the national budget in as far as provision of direct resources is concerned. So it's a good thing, and from what we have seen, most of them have actually taken the challenge rather positively, and we look forward to many more parastatals becoming financially independent in courts, because the PFMA has clear guidelines as to how monies that are raised by, or revenues that are raised by different quasi-government organizations will be treated. So this is a positive, and we will be providing updates as we go into the M&E phase of our reforms agenda. Second, a question from Victor Kankokwe, and the question was centering around the Cotton Council of Malawi, because when they came, we thought they told us a good story, and we did commend them for it, and he questions how can we be so confident. So the story in short is that first, some of us believe, and I for one do, believe that cotton is a big opportunity, because cotton is just about everything. All the soap, all the irons, all the laundry systems we have in the world, all the suits and all the clothing, all the beddings we see are cotton, and that's a simplistic way of putting it. And this is an industry that must grow. Now, in the discussions with the Cotton Council of Malawi, a few interesting revelations came up. The fact that our yields per hectare are not as good. The best case they gave us as an example was South Africa, and they used per hectare 5,000 kilograms, which is 5 metric tons per hectare, and that's the best. Now, what we've suffered from in the past, apart from just mere support, is also the fact that our cotton seed wasn't as good, and I think some work has been done to it, to the extent that right now what they're piloting in Chikwawa is that the yield per hectare has actually improved from 100 kilograms in some cases to 2,500 kilograms, which is 2.5 metric tons. And this is, the story that we found interesting, to say if they can push towards the 5,000 kilograms per hectare that our friends in South Africa are getting, A, the yield would be better, B, perhaps we'll be creating more jobs in the cotton industry from the farm, and then when we look at cottonseed oil, is another opportunity. That's another manufacturing industry there. But we can also look at cottonseed cake for animal feed. In short, we think that cotton can actually either complement or become the next biggest thing after tobacco in this economy, and that's where we are deriving our confidence from. A further question from Nyeta Wamanyeta, asking why we shouldn't think about merging NFRA and SFFRFM, the Smallholder Farmers Fertilizer Revolving Fund of Malawi, to become one entity, because he says, or she says, that the smallholder company is only active in the rainy season. Perhaps yes, but maybe not quite the case. If we said they were very active in some parts of the year, that's quite correct. But I think that they are kept busy throughout the year. That's number one. Number two, there is, as had been mentioned, discussions around a fertilizer manufacturing company locally, which initiative should actually be driven by the Smallholder Farmers Fertilizer Revolving Fund. And for that reason, that's a full-time job. It's going to keep them a lot busier than they are now. And the Grain Reserve, NFRA is also undertaking its own reforms to make sure that they're gainfully employed and they continue to provide service to Malawians. So I don't think that at this stage it's right to merge them just yet. However, if in the future the situation suggests that the two organizations should be merged, then of course we should keep ourselves open to such kind of opportunities or moments, because this world is ever evolving, and we really can't be stuck thinking that this is the way it's supposed to be. It could well be that the suggestion here is the way to go, but at this stage perhaps we should give these two organizations a chance for the next 2 or 3 years, and then we see what happens and we can leap forward accordingly. Another question is, Mr. Levi Mark Chirwa, who says that he was pleased to note that we are pushing for a prepaid metering in government departments, and hoping that if we drove this a lot more aggressively, it would improve ESCOM's cash flows. And he says he supports that thinking, and we just want to agree with him that look, it is the way to go, because nobody fights with a prepaid system. If you run out of units, you need to go and look for money to pay. It will bring in a lot of discipline, I think, as well as improve on the unnecessary conflicts that arise when bills have accumulated and the service providers or the utility companies actually want to go and disconnect. Some are threatened, beaten up, or chased, and whatever. So with this kind of system, I think things are going to work a lot better. So we agree with Mr. Chirwa on that comment. And then further, another one from Mr. Joel Suzy, who says within the reforms for the gaming board is the area of psychosocial programming to support and address inimical mental health effects of gaming, including addiction and depression. This is a critical area that the board needs to collaborate with the health and youth sector. So obviously, first is to say we agree, and everything that is addictive must be looked at with, A, caution, B, we need to look at it with a bit more seriousness than we could have done in the past. The quick response to Mr. Suzy is that in our engagements, one of the things that we are encouraging across all parastate organizations, including ministries, and by the way, the constitutional bodies, is for them to invest a bit more time in public awareness, civic education, for people to know what, first of all, they do, and certainly, on the services they offer, or the products that they market, or the services they deliver to the citizens. They should invest time in creating awareness and also getting feedback so that we can clarify or demystify some of the issues that people are concerned with, and rightly so. So that is also true in this case with the gaming board, that they will pay attention to this, and we obviously don't want people getting depressed, or in some cases people could actually go to the extent of committing suicide. We will invest time and resources into awareness programs and making sure that people know what they're really getting into as part of gaming. Colex asks or suggests that we must introduce electronic bidding in parastate organizations, saying that the current manual bidding is very costly and hindering participation of local young entrepreneurs who normally run on small capital. First, we agree. Second is that the PPDA, that's the Public Procurement Authority, I think, that's what we call it, PPDA, is looking at this as one of their reform areas. And the quick pushback is that how about those areas where you don't have network coverage? And therefore, in the initial stages, we probably want to look at a hybrid. But electronic or digital is the way to go. And this is why also, as government, there is the $72 million project that is being funded by the World Bank and will be championed by the Public-Private Partnership Commission to ensure that we improve on our use of technology, and digital is the way to go. So this will sure be the future, barring the small challenges we talk about. But I think MACRA have also been challenged to see if they can look at adopting new technology that can provide 100% coverage to the country. When that happens, then some of these concerns could easily be wiped out. And finally, another question being asked is about the possibility of SMEDI handling part of the 75 billion kwacha facility that has hitherto been managed by MEDEF. And the question is, do we think they have the capacity? The proposal to SMEDI was to exactly answer that question. Do they have the capacity? They do have the repository of SMEs or MSMEs, and we think that that could be, if they had the capacity, that could be a very good vehicle for for the SMEs to access this loan facility. It is good through SMEs because these are established businesses and they could grow faster, employ people, but they could also be incubators for upcoming entrepreneurs to get the training and the discipline of handling money. Because I think there mustn't be the misconception that the government is going to be providing 75 billion kwacha every year. I think the wish is that this should be a revolving fund, and then people must benefit, and when they pay back, others can also benefit, and eventually all businesses must be growing. Let me say that let's keep these ideas and the feedback coming, because it is good that we must get new ideas, as some of us say, are free of charge, and so is thinking, and let's keep thinking and bringing new ideas on board. And second is that this reform effort is very much part of our quest for a happy nation through improved service delivery, innovation, as well as prosperity. You will recall that His Excellency the President always talks and says this again and again, that this is Zadonse. So these reforms are a collective effort, to agree with His Excellency. We know what must be done. Therefore, let's all go and do it.